Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Yacach. Come, let us reason together. Today I have an incredible man of God here, coming all the way from Sunjani in the Bro region, the central, the capital of Bro region. That's our pastor, Reverend Alex Adams from Faith Pastures Fountain Gate Chapel, all the way from Ghana, joining us. Reverend, God bless you for coming. Thank you so much for coming here.
Opportunity.
And we want to just start by asking your impression of CICC. This is your first time here. How do you find the church?
Well, we thank God. By the grace of God, I've had the opportunity of coming to Europe and maybe UK in particular for the past 25 years. So I have a little idea about churches and what goes on. But when I got here the first time, when the young man you asked to bring me from where I was residing, I saw CICC. So I was like, okay, it's just something they've just kept there, or the place belong to the church. And I know what it means to buy a property in Europe. I know it because I have a lot of friends, and when I converse with them, they tell me the challenges they face. So to see the CICC, I was like, okay, somebody's building. You put this very bold impression on it. That thing, are you taking the building or the building is personal? Only for me to know the building is personal. It's for the church and which you pastor. And brother, I salute you and I congratulate you for that because I know it is taking a lot of effort to get it right.
Wow, we thank God. It's been grace and mercy that has brought us thus far. But let's talk about you. You've been one of the founding fathers of Fountain Gate Chapel, the associate pastor of Reverend Eastwood all these years. I mean, when you started the church, did you have any idea it was going to become what it is today?
No. I mean, not even a thought of it. Because when we started, our intention was to work in the northern part of Ghana and especially the upper region. So when Pastor Yusuf completed his first degree at University of Science and Technology, which we now call Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, we all decided to move to Bolga because we used to be in the SU. I used to hold SU camp. But we knew that there was something more than that we had to do. So we decided to move. I was then in the Polytechnic in my first year. But because the ministry was going to take off, and by the grace of God, I was Pastor Yusuf's personal intercessor for some years. So he knew that prayer was a major part of Christian ministry, especially the kind of work we're going to do there. And then secondly, I could sing. Praise and worship was one of my ministries that he loved. So he told me that, you know what, I know we all want degrees and things like that, but it is time for us to go and do that which God has put in his hands. And he needed my support. And our relationship was said that there was no way I could say no, because we had traveled to places like Somanya, Gosso, Meme, and things to do ministry one way this thing. And then we hold camp meetings. So to say we should go into ministry was very easy. So I moved to partner with him, with Reverend Clement, with Pastor Clement Ancheba, with Pastor Frifa, then one Pastor Bray, and then one who is going to be with the Lord, Prophet Emmanuel Pom. We decided to go, and then his wife decided to go and start it. And when we started, we thought that we were just doing ministry in upper part of the upper region, the upper part of Ghana. And that was it. But lo and behold, we never thought that one day
it was going to be what
it's going to be what it is. No, it never went to. Pastor Eastwood somehow, maybe in dealing with the Lord, he knew God would take us far. But as far as we're followers, we just believed that this was a man of God. We respect him, we loved him. And we said, okay, if you give us a command, there we go. And that was it. You take care of praise and worship, you take care of prayer, you do Bible teaching, you do that. Even when they were going to ordain us as ministers, we were like, pastors? Now what? And they ordain us as pastors. But after almost 35 years plus of ministry, we celebrate God's mercies and his goodness.
Wow. I remember my first impression of It wasn't Fountain Gate. It was
Broken Yoke.
Broken Yoke.
Yes. We were first Nintam, Northern Deliverance in TS.
Yes.
Northern Deliverance. Then we realized that no, it will limit us.
Then
So Pastor Jesus said, okay, Broken Yoke. Because if you look at where we come from, it is witchcraft, idolatry, all these types of things. So if you look at us, we are more into deliverance getting people out of crisis of life and things like that. We've not left it, but I can see that that is who we are.
I think somebody gave me the book End Time Militia.
Wow, that was his first book.
Yes, and I read the book.
Very militant.
I read the book and I just fell in love with the man. I said, let me look for. So I remember my first video was they had benches.
Yes, that's benches, how we started.
And there were these old ladies sitting there and he was preaching in English, this man with a suit. And I was like, can the people understand what is going on? Because I remember this many, many years ago, watching the video.
No, you're talking about intermilitia, you're talking about 30 years ago.
Yeah, I was like, can the people understand? But I don't know whether they understood, because at the time I didn't hear any interpretation going on, but they knew the spirit of the man, and there was something unique about the ministry, and I followed the ministry.
You see, even up to now, we have these elderly women who still come to church. Whatever you are saying, whether it's for businessmen, it's for whoever, they will come to church. Whether they understand or they don't understand, they will be there. You know why? Right. To them, Pastor Eastwood is seen like a liberator. Oh. He came and took them out of idolatry, invested in them to do small-scale farming and things like that. Okay. And so anytime they have available time, they just want to be there. Some of them are widows and things like that. And so some of them were stigmatized with witchcraft. But Pastor kind of accept all of them and see how in his own way he looks after them. So they see him as their father. As long as he says there's a meeting, fine. And if you look at the way the church was built in Boga, most of them were not used, they were workers. They don't have work because during the farming time, they farm. After the farming, there's no work. So Pastor had a way of making them do the non-professional work so that they can be paid to have some money. Oh, wow. So it gives them a very deep sense of belonging. And so that is what they are to Pastor. Pastor Isu loves them. They love him. They know what he has done for them in their life. So to them, to just sit in the house, literally doing nothing, they rather come. And we've respected them and accepted them. So now we have interpretation. When we know that it's not some high-class business training, church workers training and things like that, we allow them and give them an interpreter.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, I was thinking about this, that, well, in Boga, they had this, whatever, because it's unique. You moving to Sunyani, how did you tweak the ministry?
Okay, what happened was that, good word. We said Northern Deliverance in TS ministry. So we had nothing to do with the South. Okay. Our intention is that the devil has messed up with our people enough. So let's stay like that. But as we ministered, Pastor felt that, okay, we should spread. Because the grace on our life, we could reach some other people. So I remember Prophet Opon of blessed memory. He was the first place to move. Because by that time, Pastor Clement has started the work in the Upper West. Okay. So he moved. But he kept me because I was the Accra boy of the church. Anytime he wanted something to be done in Accra, he felt I was the best guy to go and do it for him. So I was more like his PRO, Eddie Cam. Talk about it. Sure. And so that is what we did. Then later, in the Upper Region, churches started springing up. Then he sent me to Tamale. Okay. To go and start our branch in Tamale. So whilst we're there, he felt that, okay, there was this strong, great man of God who is still with us. He's now in Tamale, Pastor Jima Dombila. He thought that the grace on the man's life, he'll be good if he's in the Northern region. Because Pastor Jim is powerful. Okay. He's into deliverance, into whatever. So he felt that if he passes to this in Boga, he will need a tough guy like that in Tamale. Okay. So he moved to Tamale. Then as the ministry went on, he felt that, okay, as heavyweights, to keep all of us by him, we won't go the way we want. And you don't take a boy and throw him into serpents and snakes. You look for somebody.
You look for, yeah.
So the fellow is going there not because of money, not because of fame, but to make sure that our roots
get a footprint.
I remember when I was going, he said, Alex, I'm sending you to the power fire. Make sure. I'll never forget of this word. Hallelujah. He said, make sure we are rooted.
Wow. And you've done
now I can
fantastic. You've done fantastic. We thank God. We thank God. So going as a missionary to Kumasi without Bravo without, I'm sure you went by yourself to start with.
Yes. No, those days, where was the money? Me like this, he laid hands on me.
And they sent you.
And he sent me. He said he sends me in the name of the Lord. No, something like sending you by way of giving you, they say send off whatever.
Yeah.
No. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
He just told me that, Alex, I'm sending to this region. Make sure we are established. I will never forget of that. Wow. So I knelt down, he laid hands on me. And that
was it.
One of our pastors who was in Burkina Faso by then, an associate, was supposed to join me. But pastor felt that he hasn't got my strength. So he felt that they should support him. So they managed to get him an accommodation and everything. But me, no. I went and stayed with one old member who was in his house. That's why I went to stay. He wasn't then married. So I was in there before he married, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. So that's how we picked ministry. Wow. And pastor always tried to refer, starting with sometimes me, that nothing was given to me. I was sent by prayer and lay offers.
That's all.
I respected him as much. And today, by the grace of God, we're fine.
Wow. So, let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
If you were to speak to Pastor Alex of age of 17, your 17-year-old self, what would you, with the benefit of your experience and where you are, what would you have said to him? What should he have done differently?
Okay, what I would have done differently by now is to be more tactical and patient. Because those days, sometimes we say that it's God who did it. We're tough, we're robust. You know the word. Uncompromising. So there are things now I knew that if I had been tactful, maybe I would have done better. But here we are, where we come from. The place is so rough and robust.
That you need that.
You need that toughness. You're sharp in your preaching, uncompromising, and things like that. And some people saw it to be too hard. And people left church. And there was this lack of common sense. As for me, this is how I am. But it is not a good language in ministry. You will come across some situations. God will need you to be patient. Because it's those same people God is going to transform to support you in ministry. And if there's something I would have done, is there. Today, by the grace of God, I think I've matured a bit. And based on that, I know how to handle human beings better.
I think the experience is almost the same, because I was sent to France. I didn't speak French.
Okay.
And I went with just a bag. Didn't know anybody. Got into France at 9 p.m. Can't speak the language. But we survived and built a church. And looking back, I was like, when I think back, I don't know what possessed me to even think that I could do it. That's why I asked the question, what was in your mind when you started the church?
Oh, usually it's passion. Number two, you believe you are called. You are not one of the people walking on the street. That is one thing. I have an indelible impression in my heart, and experience I encountered God. And God was gracious to me. I had a great man like Pastor used to groom me. So that is how gracious, that's how thankful I'm unto God. So passion, you believe you are called. Number three, you have somebody you can look up to help you. and things like that. So when you step into ministry, personally, he told me, God's work done God's way will never lack God's provision.
That's great.
God's work,
Yeah.
God's way will never lack provision. Yeah. So that faith is what took me to where I was going, and it has helped me in life. If it's God who sent me there, then that's in God.
Definitely.
And it can be so.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Before we go, I want to ask two quick questions. Normally, I want you to advise, for the benefit of your experience, to advise young ministers. You know, the ministry as it is now has evolved with time, and the way you did ministry has to be modified in this day and age. So what would be your advice to a young up-and-coming minister?
Number one, you don't go into ministry because of what you get. If you go into ministry because of what you get, you'll be frustrated.
That's right.
Because God will have to navigate you by his own way. Yeah, you have your own personal ambitions, what you think should be done and things like that. But God has his own way. If he has called you, he'll groom you. And in the grooming, sometimes he takes you through a boot camp. And I'll tell you, he'll beat foolishness out of you. And how he beat the foolishness, I don't know. Because you are going to handle people.
Yeah.
Good, bad, evil. You must still handle them and then train them and things like that. So the first thing I'll say is that if you came into ministry because of what you get, welcome to the well of frustration, disappointments, and trouble. Are you getting? Because I know people are outside, they see what God is doing is flamboyant and things like that. Yeah. But nobody. I remember when I started traveling international, people were saying that, oh, this time Pastor Adams is here. Pastor Adams told them that, stop this. Go and find out 30 years ago, 40 years ago, the life he led. The man was sweeping gutters, carrying benches, running canopies, doing this and that and that. Nobody complained. But you see what God is doing now. We came into ministry because we love God, we believe he has called us, and we are doing his work. Yeah. But these other things, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. All other things we get. So these other things that's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is always remember, people have gone ahead of you who know the terrain. So when they are talking to you, listen. Because sometimes in the name of anointing, in the name of God has called me.
It's so fantastic what you're saying, because my experience with the younger pastors now is they are not patient. Yeah. They feel they know. And so sometimes they run ahead of time.
They hurt themselves. Yeah. They messed up.
It's like they are trying to reinvent the wheel when it's already.
And the funny enough is that some of them can't even turn, because it takes a lot of humility to turn. If you know you are going the wrong way, and God tells you the master, or your boss tells your master, you are going, master, you are going there. Forgive my language. The master is a turn. Respectfully, you must turn. If you look at Jonah, Jonah knew what God wanted him to do. But he knew that God was so gracious and merciful that when he goes to prophesy, God and the people pray, God will change it. Yeah. So out of his superiority complex, he felt that his prophecy must not be put to the gutters or to him. So I won't prophesy. Yeah. Let me go a different way. God said, come on, I sent you.
So you better listen.
I'll put you on the right track. That is how ministry is. If you refuse to respect the love and the passion of your leader, and you think you can have your way, you're in for trouble. Thanks.
My final question: what's the secret to being loyal and being together with this great man of God for all these years?
That is a question people have asked me over and over and over. The first thing is that I believe without a shadow of doubt that God called him. So that he's a servant of God. That one, no doubt. No two ways about it. Because if you look at Jesus Christ and his disciples, at some stage, Jesus started making a statement like, they will eat my blood, flesh, they will drink my blood. And the Bible said, the people said, everyone left. He turned his back. He asked his, will you also go? Peter said, to whom shall we go? I have come to realize. And Peter said, you have the words of eternal life. And we believe and we are sure. I've come to know by experience. If you believe that the one who is leading you is a man of God called by God, and you understand the things of God, it's enough caution to know how to work with him. Because there are scriptures that show us how to work with leaders. We may not be perfect because of our own humanity and things like that. But some respect and regard should be given to them. Because sometimes you want something to go here, but that's not what God is telling you. There becomes that. So loyalty makes you bury your own ambitions and what to them and follow what the leader wants. So these are the two things I want to talk about. The fact that you must be sure that he's been called by God. Because he's a human, he'll make mistakes. Some of them can even go against you. But the fact that, look at Peter. Peter said, Jesus, you can't go to the cross. Jesus called him Satan. But did that stop Satan? Offended. There you go. So sometimes when they are leading us like that, they can give us troubles. But loyalty will let you stay. And what will let you stay? I believe without a shadow of doubt. Pastor Yusuf was called by God. I've worked with him. We've stayed together. I used to grind pepper. I used to wash his underwears, his clothing, and everything. I didn't have a problem because I felt that is the man God called me to submit to. We've gone through all those kind of challenges and things like that. But I can't see myself turn my back to Pastor Yusuf. Not today, not tomorrow, because of what we've gone through. And the fact that I know him. Pastor Yusuf is a man of God. God called him. I don't have a shadow. People can say whatever they want. They can have whatever. I have lived with him. And I know him as a man of God. And that one is something embedded in my heart. So even if there is something that is not going well, approaching him, I'm very careful. Sometimes I try to stay away and you get to know. I say, Alex, you are of this. And I said, I call him Baba. I call him Abochi. Sometimes Baba. Baba means father. Abochi means friend. I said, Abochi. They said, you should have told me that. I said, well, I believe God will speak to you because you hear from God. And then we handle it that way. And it has worked for us. Right now I'm here. If he takes a phone now and tells me he wants me home, I'll not be hurt. I'll not be offended. I'll be on my way.
Yeah. Good. Oh, wow. Our time is fast spent. I was going to ask you about succession. You know, our first conversation was on succession, and I know you are very experienced and well versed in that area. But for time, I am praying that the next time you come, we'll have
succession is very important.
Yes.
If you won't mind, I'll just hit something.
Yes, sir.
And
please go.
With our ministry, like Fountain Gate Chapel, I was a vice chairman. I was a third vice chairman. And usually elections and blah, 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 and that kind of thing. First, I used to call me. I told them that, okay, he thinks we have worked hard to set certain things in place. We should allow another generation
to take over.
And he said something remarkable. He wants to stay alive and see how the ministry will go. Because by that time, he has handed over to Pastor Clement. And then now, Pastor Clement is supposed to hand over to somebody. And I was a vice. So the normal thing is that I should be put there for election.
Yes.
But he said, all the founders, pull out and let another generation take over. I can be hurt. I can be offended.
Yes.
I've worked hard. I deserve it to be.
It's my turn.
It's my turn. What are you talking about? But because I believe he's a man of God and I respect him, I trusted that it's a genuine decision he has taken. And the rest is history.
Wow. Well, folks, it's been great speaking to Reverend Alex Adams all the way from Ghana. And he's such a fantastic man of God. You can talk to him for hours and hours to glean. I'm enjoying my fellowship with him. And Reverend, we'll ask you that you come back again very soon. So until he comes back and until we meet again, this has been Yacach with your host, Pastor Chris. I'll see you next week with another interesting conversation. Until then, shalom, peace, God bless you. See you next week.